Whoa! What's happening, everyone?
Hey,
A wild rab has appeared right at the last second.
I need like a Pokeball I can throw at my camera.
That was perfect. I just have a little drink here.
salute.
Just a little one.
And that kind of week. Salute, yes.
I gotta work tonight. I can't. And then I go on call on Friday. So tomorrow, I'm gonna go out, drink heavy, and I'm gonna walk into my call probably hungover.
Oh my God, we got everybody in here. I tried to highlight through the intro, and then I almost forgot. Hey,
I don't think the intro shows anything when it's going. I think it just takes over the whole thing. But
oh, does it really?
I've been kind of saying hi to people as they kind of come in and stuff like that. Took care of a couple people that looked like they just kind of wanted to stir the pot a little bit. So
who's Geeks with Cash? He's a Silly Club member.
Give it a stir.
Oh, that's you.
That would just be me, sir.
Oh, you're a Silly Club member.
Me.
That's awesome. That means you could use all these Silly Club badges and emojis like tab and no crab legs.
And I got a nap today, Del Saber. I skipped my workout today because I came home. I slept like crap last night, so I came home and just immediately went to bed after I took care of my dogs.
This is awesome. I love all these people that come in and think that this is sponsored content, but it's really not because I'm not getting paid. I'm just a fan talking about retro games.
Unless they're considering you testing a unit to be like some sort of payment, I guess, maybe.
There's going to be payment. Hey, I'll let you guys know.
It's payment in
time. Silly Club member. Sorry. Needs a jaw dropper t-shirt. I sure hope so. I sure hope soon. We got S. Mill, King Crab, Frankie Calzone in the house.
Yep.
It's a Unibit, dude.
Amico Bro, Just a Fuse, Dill Saber Files.
Just a Fuse in the house.
King Crab's here.
Sweet and Tender.
Apparently, something called Crab Legs is now in chat. We got
awesome!
Totally not Aaron Plays.
I'm guessing that got in there so they could get a clip for this week. I think I don't know.
You've got to get your clips.
It's a thing, man. Brian's Man Cave's here. Blood and Teeth. How you doing, my man?
Hey, Brian.
Oh man, Brian working on those awesome Blood and Teeth in the house.
John Alvarado is in chat, so is Casey.
Dude, Brian's Man Cave. He's been making some in television games. I just saw his progress on the Atari 2600 game Boing.
Oh, can we not make comments like that about
what's
Aaron
that?
Plays,
what happened?
Please. Can we not make comments like that? That's not cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not cool.
I haven't caught up yet, so I'm hopefully it's John Alvarado in the house. Good to see you. The only thing sponsored here is DJC, and I personally sponsor him. Thanks, Silly Club member Luke's Awakening. Join the Silly Club today, just like
Jose Perez. Actually, I have not played Sonic Frontiers. I'm thinking about picking it up on Steam, though. It looks too fun not to at least give it a try.
No, I saw Rhea streaming it earlier, and that's really the only like gameplay I've really seen. It looks cool. It's interesting take on stuff. Yeah, dude, you're working hard on those, man. I'm getting those. They look fantastic. John Alvarado says, good to be here, not typing too much for a bit, just trying to finish dinner. Yeah.
Dude, man.
Priorities, sir.
The way you work.
We can't all multitask. We're not all Geeks with Cash.
Hey, Sneed. How you doing? I ate dinner before I came on stream tonight.
That's what I want to get.
I had a nice bowl of ramen tonight. It was delicious.
I want to get the Switch version of that because that's my. I mean, I guess I could get it on Xbox One too, but I don't know.
I think it's available on pretty much most of the platforms
Everything.
now.
Yeah,
It's on Switch. I don't think I'd recommend it there if it's having slowdown issues on like PS4 and PS5. It's not going to fare well on the Switch. I was thinking about picking it up on Steam. That way I could try and see how bad it breaks my Steam Deck, as well as have it on my computer. So I'd have it on the go. I could put it up on the TV with the Steam Deck, that kind of thing. So the flexibility is appealing to me, even though, and it's got pretty positive reviews so far. I haven't seen like a lot of bad reviews come in for that version, so hopefully it's pretty solid. Sometimes the PC version is a little sketchy. Depends on who made it.
Well, that's good because let's get right into it.
Switch because it's just the game. I think that's good for portability.
Yeah, and let me know how it runs on there. I'm a little worried about it, given what I've heard about pop-in issues and some frame rate stuff and things like that. I'm worried if the Switch can handle it, or if they made adjustments with how much stuff is in the terrain and all that to kind of make it run smoother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
curious.
I am probably not the person to give you feedback on that because I live with the glitches. I don't care.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I do that a lot of times too. It just depends. I mean, sometimes the glitches aren't too bad. You're fine with it. And other times you're going, this is not playable. It just depends.
Like Cyberpunk 2077.
Sneed says the textures are worse and the FPS is lower. So I think Sneed has actually played it. So
the Frontiers you're talking about?
Yeah. I think he's talking about the Switch version.
Oh, the Switch version. Okay, so maybe I should get it on Xbox One then instead.
I might.
I haven't bought anything on that forever.
Apparently, the pop-in's going to be patched, according to Jose. So that'll be good. Hopefully they clean up. I always expect now with modern games that you need a couple patches to kind of iron things out. I don't know why it's that way, but it just sort of is.
Because
kind of a thing now.
Yeah, you can. I mean, if in the 80s and 90s we could have released games and patch them as you go and start getting a little bit of orders,
get your revenue back while you're
get your revenue back while it's still exciting and
Brian Danielson.
Apparently, RUT85 said the Switch version is great.
I gotta see that.
So that's good. Okay, so everybody's saying it's pretty good regardless of system. That's great. That's all all I want out of a Sonic game is to let me go fast and for it to be a solid, non-glitchy mess. That's all I want, man. Like 06 pretty much lowered the bar on Sonic to like crushing levels. So we've gotten a remaster of Colors, which is reportedly pretty good. I still want to pick that one up. And now we have Frontiers. So now we have two pretty solid Sonic games.
You're saying you want a Sonic's 3D Blast.
I've never messed with 3D Blast. I tapped out Sonic 3D Sonics for the most part after Adventure. I didn't mess with Adventure 2. I wanted to pick up Colors because it looked... I still haven't picked it up yet. And I want to go back and I want to pick up the DX version and Adventure 2 on Steam and just play through those because I'd like to have a more modern copy of it that'll run. And
I tell you what, Sonic Mania...
I don't have my Dreamcast anymore.
Oh, Sonic Mania was a love letter.
That was so great as like making the classic 16-bit Sonic style with mixing it with a little new story, with a little time travel, and I thought that was really good. And I still haven't finished it. Like I've been to be honest, I play more of these games and spend more time on these than I do any of my modern ones. But I really need to go back. I've been kind of doing
the same thing. I mean, I
need to do that.
I do some modern stuff, but I've been throwing in stuff like I've still been practicing Ninja Gaiden because I want to do a cleaner run on that. I did finally beat it. I beat it a while back. I just don't like how the run went through. So I want it to be a little bit smoother, to do it on stream without losing my ever-loving mind trying to get through it, which probably won't work. But if I can get further before I start losing my mind, that would be preferable. Picked up Forgotten Worlds, which is, I don't know if you played that on the Genesis, but Forgotten Worlds is a great little shooter.
That's right. I had that on. I had it for PC Engine. That's the one with the guys kind of hovering with the guns like that.
Yeah.
Rotate. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I picked that one up because I was tired of grinding on Ninja Gaiden, and then I beat it inside like a couple of hours, and I'm like, wait, Why was this game so hard when I was a kid? Why was this game so hard like 2 months ago? What happened to me? And the only thing I can think of is I've been playing so much Rigid Force Alpha that I've just gotten used to shooters.
I was almost going to say something, but I'm not.
You also you kind of discard all the time you put in as a kid just to get decent with that game. So you don't have that time to put in now. So and you don't have the I guess the patience to kind of ramp yourself up for those more challenging games.
And I've kind of I've taken a different tact when it comes to retro gaming now. Is I won't do like hours and hours and hours long stints because I often don't have time.
You have a life. I mean, when you were 12, what else were you gonna do on like a Saturday afternoon when it's raining?
Right, but I'll sit down and I'll spend like say 20, 30 minutes trying to do like a 1cc run and see how far I get. Right.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back and I'll do that again. And I'll do that again. That's kind of how I've been doing Ninja Gaiden. I don't get as annoyed with it when I do it that way, but I also get practice and clean up earlier parts of the stages. And then I get back more quickly to the later part of the stages where I really do need to practice and that kind of stuff. So it works for me right now. How far that's really going to get me on these, I don't know, but I'm not setting a timetable on these kinds of games anymore. I'm just kind of doing it to do it. I'm not going to try to stream as many of them.
Digital Derby. I've never heard digital is like one of the handheld like LED racers or the ones that had like the screens that moved behind that were kind of real. No.
Digital Derby. I don't. That one doesn't.
I used to like a lot of those things though. I have a digital bowling and a couple other things and original Simon.
Yeah, I have Auto Race. I don't.
Oh, cool. Apparently, according to Tier God, Target has a buy two get one free on select games, and Sonic Colors is one of them. Not Frontiers. I didn't expect Frontiers to be part of it.
Speaking of a Silly Club member, Rhea, thanks for joining the Silly Club. You want to get in on the Silly Club right now? No, but I saw her streaming Sonic Frontiers earlier, and that's where I kind of saw she was fighting like this giant monster and bouncing off rocks, and it's interesting looking. I'd want to see more, but like I had to come back and start editing stuff for here, But yeah, anyways, Ray, I hope you're having fun with that game. What format do you have it on, if you don't mind me asking? If you had it on Switch or you've had it on Xbox or PlayStation?
Playdate.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any reviews. I saw the trailer. It looked really good. That's kind of enough for me, but I just like to be surprised by it.
Indie Racing, what's going on? Well, I'll tell you this, I voted. So I'll tell you that. Not saying everyone I voted for won, but hey, here in Michigan, but hey, what are you going to do, But good to see you, man. Trying to catch up here. But so Sonic Frontiers, are you guys getting this? And what format will you guys be getting this on, if you get it?
Yeah, I'll be getting it on Switch.
I'll probably try the Steam version, and I kind of want to do that just so I can see how it runs on PC. Because I know other people have played it on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Switch, so I'm curious to see how the PC version runs. And kind of a PC guy anyway. So if I get a physical copy of it, it'll probably be on Switch. I might double dip just to have a physical copy.
1 inch, that sounds something like you were like a Stand By Me. When I was 12, I also ate a bunch of went to a pie eating contest, and there was just everybody started puking. It was the same. I think the same time that you saw the dead body that got hit by the train.
Those are your formative years.
By the way, if you guys have not gone to Rhea to hang out on her streams, you really should.
Yeah, she does a great stream.
It's a really good crowd. She's very welcoming.
Yeah, I hope.
So you guys should definitely check Rhea out.
Another Silly Club member, George Games in the house. Pac-Man show. Yeah.
Hey, George, how you doing, man?
I'll definitely be mentioning Pac-Man, as you should, every show, or play Pac-Man on every show. Try to get Mike to do that every Tuesday. He just still hasn't done it.
That's the one. That's one that we haven't really done a show on, that we might need to do some digging on doing a full-on show is Pac-Man. They haven't done a whole lot new with Pac-Man outside of like the Pac-Man, was it Pac-Man 3 or Pac-Man 99 or something like that?
I voted for Sonic in the Black. Yeah, let me check our back. We do have a poll going of your favorite Sonic game. Of course, YouTube only lets you do four Sonic, so I didn't put the original because everybody loves that. But so I have Sonic 2, Sonic CD, Sonic and Knuckles, and the new Sonic. Well, the newer newer Sonic Mania. I figured no one's really played Frontiers enough to make that decision yet.
Yeah,
but it looks like
that-
Sonic 2, which I figured would be the winner. But Sonic and Knuckles is right behind at 30%. Sonic, we only got about
did
50
Sonic
votes,
2 because that's the first one I remember really
It's a
being able
great
to plow
game.
through as a kid, and I remember enjoying it a lot more than the first one. The first one I thought was a really good game, and I liked the speed of it, but I always thought that the level design wasn't built really to allow you to go fast for very long.
No.
It's like they were really nervous about letting you have a lot of speed, whereas 2, they give you a lot more opportunities to really feel fast, which made it much more fun, in my opinion.
Well, there really hadn't been a game like that. So
Yeah.
I think they were kind of feeling out. I mean, platformers, you took your time with. You kind of explored the space and, took risks with jumps and stuff. And here you were put in this game where you were just flying through on trust that you were not going to, kill yourself by going as fast as you could.
And I'll
So I
admit, even in Sonic 2, when I first started playing it, you'd go so fast you'd go off the screen. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no, where am I going? Because you're so used, at that time, I was so used to playing Mario games, right? Where, while you have you can get a decent amount of speed going, it's much more methodical approach to the game, right? You've got all these tight platforms. You can't stop on a dime, that kind of stuff.
Explore the whole space. Whereas
You really
Sonic,
had to think about what you were doing, at least until you got used to it. Then you could just kind of do it mechanically, right? Like you do any other game.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, you're learning the stage and where to go.
Yeah.
Your path through it. But for the most part, I was always frustrated as at the time when I first started playing Sonic, because leaving rings was just like a sin. I mean, you play Mario and you're collecting every coin.
Yeah.
And
it's.
I remember seeing
That
it.
was kind of fun. That was kind of a
blowing
neat
me away.
tactic too, because not only did you collect enough rings to be able to get another one up, but they were also kind of like a shield, right? Because you
Yeah,
and
and as long as you picked up one out of the million. I used to hate that when you hit something, when you had like 40, 50, 60 rings, and all of a sudden you hit something, it's like, bling, you're like, no, and you're trying to scramble to pick them up.
Absolutely. And nothing gives me more PTSD than that countdown timer in the water stages. I think that's just like freaks
each
every kid of that era out when they hear that noise now.
And nothing is worse than like Sonic is not meant to be in the water going so slow. It's just it's the antithesis of that game. I could live with losing some rings. I could not live with I had to reset every time like I was in one of the chaos zones and inadvertently went through without collecting every possible ring and
oh dude, Sonic I think Sonic 2 actually maybe once I managed to get out the Chaos Emeralds, but I found that almost nigh impossible with the first one. That whole bounce around shifting platform thing, I hated that.
That was
still don't like it.
That was the one kind of like stage intermission area where you mini game in a Sonic that I actually like, because then you went into like, what was it like? They went into like the space harrier with the second one where you were collecting
with the
like
UFOs and stuff on there.
Yeah, you were
collect the blue
like
balls.
And
Around yep, and the third one.
And the third one they did
spheres.
more space harrier because it was a big open area.
Hated those. Yeah, it just felt like 3D World Runner or something. It just felt really like dated by that point.
Yeah, a little bit.
No,
I don't know. I like Sonic about as well as I do Mario. I think Mario's had more consistency in the main line of games.
More appearance in hotel games and getting lost in time.
Well, yes. And more getting trapped in paintings because Luigi's always getting him out of that.
Don't forget about Hotel Mario, if that's what you were trying to say.
That was what I was saying.
On CDI, was that CDI, right?
And he was talking about Mario's Lost with the Lost in Time kind of thing too.
What was it on?
Mario, whatever it was.
Is that Super Nintendo or original Nintendo?
No, Hotel Mario was I believe it was CDI. That was like the worst thing ever put out. Yeah. They also did a Zelda on there that was like the worst thing ever. What were they thinking?
Mario was missing, I think.
Well, excuse me, princess. Sorry, that's the only line.
Yeah, CDI. That's what I thought. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew exactly when you were like in a hotel. I'm like, oh god, I remember that was just seeing the gameplay. I was like, I never want that experience ever.
Well,
Luke's with a no crab legs emoji. Silly club member. Thank you.
Philips managed the license because they saved them from having to work with Sony, and then Nintendo was like, "No, just
Saved. Come on.
we're not doing anything else."
No, that wasn't saved. That was.
Was it 3 of them? I didn't know there was 3 bad Zeldas on
They
there.
agreed not to take all the monies.
Yeah, there were a couple of Zelda games on the CDI, and none of them were very good.
Oh, awesome, George Games. Bought my family tickets to Video Games Live coming to Salt Lake City in
Nice.
January. Where's Utah? That's too far, man. You need to come over in
It's
the
actually
Midwest.
right
somewhere.
next door to me.
Well, there you go. Because I cannot. That's a little too far for me.
By next door,
For
it's
now,
like,
for this
like
time.
9 hours.
I've done so many
it's
trips.
it's like one state away, dude. I mean, come on.
I can't
Utah's not
afford it.
that far from Colorado.
Depends on where. It's a big
The
state.
educational Mario
That's
games for
true.
NES. World light graphics. Would a Sonic CD sequel be like Sonic Digital, Sonic Blu-ray?
Sonic MP3.
Yeah.
Sonic.wave.
Silly goose emoji. That'd be more of a panda one. A silly goose emoji.
It would be.
I don't know,
Maybe
I
a
could
silly
get behind
flamingo.
it. Yeah, that works.
He's an infrequent regular. You can bring him on.
Went to a game con.
Variance is
I
our
was
country's too big.
I was trying to go to too many games, but I never made it. I would have, to be honest, I think next year, the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, that would be my place. Like with all the Intellivision stuff and the Atari stuff and just all those homebrews, like that would be the place I'd want to go and try to strive to do. I'd love to do too many games, but to be honest, Portland Retro Gaming or any retro gaming expo is what I want to go to. I've been to like the Comic Cons and the game areas and that, but I've never went directly to like an actual video game con. But yeah, that's what I
I've
would
been to a
love
Comic
do.
Con. I've never actually been to like a video game convention.
I have.
Yeah, Portland, right? Yeah, I've never been
Been to a
there, but
few.
I'd go there for that. What'd you say?
I mean, if you're going to go to one, Portland is the, kind of the
Yeah,
granddaddy of all retro cons. So
we do need the flamingo cam again. Maybe.
Jose,
Maybe.
I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. I know the other guys are pretty stoked about it. Mr. Brady's really stoked about the Atari 50th. I have zero memories or nostalgia for Atari, quite frankly. I never once had one of their systems. Not even the Jaguar. Jaguar. Or the Lynx. Because when the Lynx came out, I wanted the Game Gear.
it was a little painful.
Hey, Silly Club member, original Next Level Gaming.
So, and the Jaguar, just so I can say that more painfully for Rab.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Take another drink.
Here to help. I'm a giver. Just didn't look appealing to me, quite frankly. I know a lot of people love it and they stand by it, and it's got its audience, man. And maybe I'll pick up the 50th just to try some of those games, if nothing else. Aren't some of the Recharge games on there too?
I don't know if the recharged games are.
They have like the remade the Haunted House. They have that's the one I'm kind of looking forward to, which is because it's all like crazy. It looks like if they would have took the Atari game and made it 3D, so it's still blocky in like straight up like I don't know 2-bit graphics or whatever those are. But like it's immerses you like into the blocky. Almost looks like Minecraft for Haunted House. It's kind of neat. I'm kind of really looking forward to that.
It's not really selling me. I was not a big Minecraft fan either.
Well, I've never even played Minecraft, but I'm saying that the look of it's just how they
modern indie game graphics with the
capitalizing on the blocky what do you want to call it, pixel blockiness of
aesthetic.
Old, but putting it in a 3D environment, so that kind of like what Minecraft did and got popular.
Yeah.
People love that retro look to it.
Well, Minecraft got popular because it was basically digital Legos. Let's be fair. People were making things like the Starship Enterprise, like all of it, even all the rooms, out of that before they made it like a real game. And well, by real game, I mean adding story elements and other stuff like that into it. When it was just a world and you just built stuff, people loved it just for that. And then they started adding all the creepers and all the other stuff that they added to it, which is overall made it, I feel like a much more fleshed out game, but people loved it just for the crafting.
So I guess I could drop this now because we're gonna get into some other talk, which is gonna be about Microsoft and Sony and Xbox consoles and in profit and loss made on those. But I do, yeah, woohoo! We're gonna get into really fun stuff.
Fun stuff like profits and loss.
God, I love that. I'm gonna pull out some graphs. You guys can get the whiteboard out and get your dry erase. I'm gonna get a couple markers. I'm gonna be wearing a couple of them out. All right, about making these graphs. But yeah, pretty much. There you go.
So I did pull up both articles that I had linked. Well, there was a third one on the numbers that Sonic had sold, but we've talked so much Sonic now. I don't know if we want to.
No, go ahead. Go. What do you want to say?
That was they passed. What was it? 1.5 billion units.
1.5 billion sales. Now, Nintendo Switch came out in 2017. Every game they've ever sold, physical, digital, software sales on Nintendo Switch, I think was about 914 million. Every game ever sold on the Switch. And the Sonic franchise alone, they've said 1.5 billion. That is insane.
I didn't get a chance to really read through the article. I saw it and it shocked me.
What game is that for? Is that for all games?
Did you
or is that
read
just Frontiers? That's
yes.
all Sonic games.
So yes, and there's a big caveat on that because basically I think about 4 or 5 years ago, Sonic sales for games were about 150 million, which is a lot more reasonable when you think about, okay, how many Sonic games are spent. If there's one franchise that has been reiterated again and again and again and again, Sonic has got to be up there, like way past Assassin's Creed, way past Call of Duty. I mean, there's way past FIFA. There's always multiple Sonic franchises out there. The thing with that number of 1.5 billion, though, I think that's really interesting, is just how much of that is mobile apps, because it's about 150 to 180 million games on Steam and PC, on physical consoles. I mean, Sega only sold, if you count every Sega system that's ever been released, there's only been like 90 million consoles out there, including the Mini, including the at-game Sega. That's not a whole lot to be able to make 1.5 billion.
But they put Sonic CD and a couple others up on the App Store, so they. And that one doesn't. It's not like an endless runner thing.
But it's not like it's not like it's making like the Switch bestsellers list of like 10 million games of Sonic CD. I mean, those are not being sold at that number. You can kind of see when they break 1 million or break 2 million or 3 million. I mean, those are kind of big sales numbers for these games, and I don't think they're getting there. So I think for Sega, this number, this mobile audience, 1.3 billion downloads is what they're looking at. And for them, it's freemium. They're not making money instantly off of someone downloading the game. And a download is a download. If you have to clear space on your phone and re-download or update, and it forces you to re-download that app, that's a new download. But those are the things that they're looking at. That's something that they're looking at in selling, Sonic to the movie studios, to deals with Netflix for a Knuckles series. I mean, this is the stuff that they're talking about. I'm curious
to see how much of the bump was after the first Sonic movie. I wonder how much of a bump they saw off of that.
Well, they didn't actually have a mobile app until 2017. That was the first Sonic app, when you had Sonic Runner, the Endless Runner.
I'm just talking about the movies, though. I wonder if they get a bump in sales as kids getting an interest as they got an introduction to Sonic as a character, right?
Yeah.
Because most kids past our generation wouldn't really have gotten the same initial impression of Sonic because it was very much a 90s character.
Yeah.
Right? And has stayed pretty much a 90s character. He hasn't really changed much.
By the mid-90s, I mean, he has high recognizability ratings in the mid-90s, even in the mid-2000s. He was still up there with Mickey Mouse and Mario as the most recognizable characters amongst, people under the age of 35 all recognize him. Even 6, 7, 8-year-olds, they still recognize him. Even if they're not playing those games, they understand, like, he goes with the game and there's enough Sonic out there that they kind of recognize him.
Yeah, I mean, every kid, Mario, Sonic, God, what else is there? I don't want to say Kirby, but Mario and Sonic, I think, are the two biggest things.
Pikachu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Pokemon. Yeah. So
And
like
that's
that'd be the
because
most
Pikachu was on
recognized.
everything. The same way with
And-
Sonic. Though.
yeah.
I mean, Sonic
And-
was branded on everything.
Mike is in the chat too, so we have to say Master Chief.
Yeah.
Every kid has warm and fuzzy feelings about Master Chief.
Yes. I would always wanted
I
that
don't know if I ever
Master
had
Chief.
warm and fuzzies about Master
pillow
Chief. He's
buddy
very
that I could cuddle
recognizable,
with.
though.
Oh,
He's
sure.
probably the most recognizable modern mascot that there is.
I think it's coming out in all the systems. I'm pretty sure Atari 50th. I thought it was coming out in everything.
I thought so. I haven't
Yes.
looked to see if it's coming
Yeah.
out on the Switch.
It's on Switch. It's on Switch.
I mean, I'm
Xbox,
about
I can't
to-
see any
on
reason for
PS4
it
and
not to be on
PS5.
all those platforms. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I'm about to
going to
bring
be
my
on the
Xbox
VCS
down.
too.
that's
It
one-
should be on the VCS. If it was going to be on one platform, it
Oh,
should
there
have
you
been
go,
the
Laura
VCS,
Croft.
but-
Star Peddler says, "Yeah, Laura Croft is pretty recognizable too."
Yeah,
Bubsy's
Laura
making a comeback.
See, hey, I
What was the
Vince
star?
making a big comeback.
Rystar. Was it Rystar? The other one?
Rystar. Yeah.
Blitzkrieg, the first movie and the
star
second
with
movie are
little
both
gloves.
worth watching.
Yeah,
They're good. The
right.
Sonic movies are
The
good.
Mickey Mouse gloves. Oh, it won't be on Stadia. Dreadpool's saying.
Okay, that's fair.
Did they make 2 Bubsy games for Switch? No kidding.
Did they seriously? Oh my god. I don't have any fond memories of Bubsy. I think around that time when Bubsy
Shadow
came
is
out, because I
cool.
want to say it was the N64 era, PlayStation era. I was kind of getting out of a lot of those platformers outside of like the Mario ones, right? I kind of phased in and out of them for a little while. Bubsy never really looked all that appealing to begin with, not to me anyway.
Yeah, he kind of came on the tail end of those 2D platformers.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in that. Speaking of interesting, that was another terrible transition, but
We're doing a terrible
like it.
segue into something Amico related.
no, I was yeah, I was
Segue to something interesting.
everybody's like, huh? Now, mind you, this isn't the big giant exclusive you probably expect, but so I was, how you say playing. No, I was checking out my Amico. I was checking it out, and I put on a game, and I put on different games, and I noticed that there's a lot of things that are not shown too often. I'm trying not to laugh. Which is the light show that it puts on. You know, each game's kind of unique, and so I put this one on, and it was this. I took this video. Okay, I do have video of this. Let's hope I don't get in trouble. The NDA alert comes up, and the screen goes black, and the stream gets cut off. Then I'm sorry, and I'll try to come back and explain everything. But yeah, I took a little footage when I first got the system.
All right, Mr. Alvarado,
we need, like,
put
a
down the
random
sandwich and pay
clip.
attention.
We need like
He's
a
like,
random clip
I need
you to
of
cut
Phil
the
putting his
cut the
hand on
stream if
camera
it's-
and everything going black. That's what we need.
And I took a little video when it, because I booted up a game and it did this amazing light show with the controllers and the glowing underneath. Now, mind you, this is taken on my phone, which isn't the greatest phone, and the lights are on. It'd been a little cooler if the lights are off, and I will try to refilm it in a better atmosphere, like maybe upstairs. But this was when it was down on my game bar. I call it my game bar because I have like all my retro systems on this long countertop and all these TVs out of my arcade, and I had first hooked up the Amico there, and it was, anyways. I'm going to show you this footage, and it's a footage of the light show, and it's not that long, but it's something I can at least show you guys, and you know, maybe you guys will dig it and kind of it's like about a minute long, but this is, I think we could talk over it. So this is when I plugged it in, and I really thought this looked cool, so I couldn't help but just take video of it.
We really need like rave music, just like.
Well, I'll do. I have a separate video coming. A recap of this. That'll happen.
Barbara Streisand.
It
Sorry.
was so cool. Look, it had like the Knight Rider. It almost had like the Knight Rider underneath, which I really thought was cool. I just saw this one, and you know, it's unique to each thing, and it interacts with a lot of games. Because I remember was it in Boston at that first event when we were playing Moon Patrol? I remember seeing that really showing some cool effects with the game in the light show. But this here was just booting it up, and it was just kind of already giving me just this awesome show. And I don't know, I just really thought it was kind of a neat looking.
See,
you know,
I want them to let you turn off certain sections of the light and change the color of the lights on the end product, because then you could just have that front light just swish back and forth, and it could be your own version of like Kit in Amico form.
You want to be able to hack it with
pull
a
a
mobile app
Tommy and
that
just
you can control the LED.
I'm
that
gonna
would
pull
be
a
dope.
Tommy.
Actually, I'd really like that.
I'm gonna pull a Tommy and just say, wouldn't that be something?
It could be. Now, Chuck, when you turn it on, does it cycle through the same light show each time, or does it kind of mix it up a little bit, or depending on?
It's per game. Each game does something different. And I don't want to say more on the features, and maybe in the future I can say, but there's some cool features regarding lights, and that's really all I can really say without getting slapped across the face or with the NDA thing.
All right, lights go on, lights go off.
Thank you. That was on and exhilarating, and all everything in between. But I just thought it was pretty cool, you know.
No, that's one of the things I've always kind of liked about the console, and I like the idea that the lights will work with the games and stuff like that. I think that's a really cool idea, and it's something I've not really seen. I don't think I've seen. Well, my computer will do it with the keyboard and stuff like that to an extent, but you're not really noticing it because you're so focused on what's going on. But with a console, since it's kind of there in the room, you'll notice the ambient light that it's throwing off, and somehow I feel like that's a little more impactful than like your PC trying to do that.
Yeah, and that's been a big thing with like the Alienware and some of the gaming computers, the higher end gaming computers that that they will have all those external lights and ambiance, and you haven't seen a lot of that with consoles. I know the Evercade VS adopted the the LED on the front, and that was pretty nice. It's a nice little touch. I think it's a clever little feature.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to hurt my feelings by putting RGB on something. I'm at my core kind of a computer guy, and my mouse pad has RGB on it. Come on, yeah. I'm a sucker for that stuff. So that's just me.
And if your target is you're targeting casuals and small children that are wanting to interact with this machine, and it's doing something special, it's doing something different when you're playing, a cops and robbers game, or you're playing a bomb squad or something that has sirens, or something that has a big flash, or something that has a nice soothing light. This is a reward. It's a nicety that I think they would be attracted to. I could see little kids thinking that's pretty cool that they did a thing and they get rewarded, and it's something that they can share with their parents there, their siblings there. They can see that happening. It makes it it's one more piece of their experience.
I think would be cool, and this is me just really going out on a speculatory tangent here, just my views, no one else is not in televisions, but it would be really cool if you could put music on there, like put a thumb drive or something and play music.
I think somebody else actually mentioned that in the chat as well, to use it as like
right here, a
light show. Yeah. A music visualizer.
Because I bet the Intellivision album would look cool with all those lights going through. All right. No, but seriously,
I think
no sponsorship.
I'll be honest. I think that's a cool use for it if you wanted to do that and just play some music and just listen to it. Because I have I don't think I have it in here.
I mean, Atari was doing that in like '78. That's a great idea for a system.
Matter of fact, I've got a JBL speaker that does just that. It's like a little stand speaker that I use outside, and like if I go over to a buddy's house every now and then, we'll just hang out in there. We'll smoke a cigar, turn off the lights, and just listen to some music and just watch the light show. But it's just a relaxing time,
dude, man. Yes, Larry. I used to play CDs in my 3DO for the visualizer. Me too, dude. Up till where I stopped. I always had a 3DO hooked up to whatever TV I was at in both my apartments in California, and when I moved back to Michigan, I always had my 3DO because it had the one you could either be like a kaleidoscope or it had the one that had like the wave of music going like that. Love the 3DO for CDs, and you used to be able to download on there as well. There was a way to download your music on there. Or am I thinking of TurboGrafx or Turbo Duo?
There used to be
there's a couple systems that did that where you could download it. You know what? No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of my Xbox. My Xbox did something visual too, but obviously that's a little newer. But I'm talking original Xbox.
MP3 player on the PC I used to like because it did like a cool little level visualizer thing on it. I can't remember the name of it now. But no, I'm a big fan of stuff like that, man. Give me kind of a visual light show with my music. I like that.
Yeah, me too. I really something like that where when it interacts with games and stuff, and you know, I don't want to give too much away because there's so many cool features with the lights. But like I said, I'd really, when I can, I will. But it's just to show that's just a little kind of just a small step, and I will try to. Like I said, I had the light going on. I just happened to check it because I literally was just booting up and checking it. I was like, oh man, I got to film this just to see what it looks like. But I wish I had the lights off and it was in a better setting where I could, you know, get the lights to show up. It's a little, that video looks a little washed out, plus uploading it to here. So I will have a recap video later in the week of that, and that'll kind of show it. But
what you could do is you can turn off the lights in your house and just film it with just the ambient light of that. And I think they'll show up better. Particularly if you don't have if you can even out the balance on it, like even using your phone, you should be able to tap where you want it to light balance on the lights.
Right. Yeah.
And it should help.
Yeah. And I might do that. Maybe put it into my upstairs again, where it's in my entertainment center, or like the little, well, not I guess they're not really TV stand. And kind of put it down there where it shows how it lights up and how it looks. Yeah. But this is how many different lights are in there? Yeah, I think. Well, there's.
I can't remember.
It glows. I don't know how many. There's a lot of different lights in it, but the main glowing comes from the sides and the front, and then the controllers have their discs, the screen, obviously, the 4 buttons. They all light up different colors too. So as you saw in there, it's pretty cool. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, lights, whatever," but
it's just a nice extra touch, man.
It looks great. I really. And it makes that like the black console. Like I'm still about the wood grain. I'm super wood grain guy, but that
I'll
black
be honest,
console
that black I think would look the best with the lights, even during the day, just because it, particularly with that kind of blue. If you could get a blue glow, it looked very much just screams Tron to me.
Yeah, and that's what it reminds me of too.
I don't know. I'm thinking at night, if the lights are kind of reflecting off of the white, that might pick up. Well.
I could see that too. That'd work great. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, as far as the first production, from what's even been said publicly, I'm not really is the wood grain and the purple would be the first runs on those. Those are the most ordered. The wood grain was the most ordered next to purple. So to make in the least ordered were the white and black, and well, the red hasn't really come out officially yet, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that would be, it would be wood grain and purple.
Honestly, from when we saw the red, because they did have one with a red with the red in Philadelphia when we were there, and it was the least impressive there. I was kind of disappointed because I was really stoked for that GTO red, and it looked good. Don't get me wrong, but they did so much work on the black, the white, and just the wood grain already looking nice, that it kind of started to pale a little bit in comparison to the others, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, the red looked all right. I wasn't as smitten with the red as I was with the wood grain or the black or the white versions, especially once they redid the white ones and it looked very, very glossy, all white, and it didn't have the silver trim anymore. Yeah, I'm holding out for some other colors. I've been too spoiled with what Slappy's put on the
like the Happy
the
Halloween
pages,
and the Canada Day and the 4th of July.
Well, I'd still like to see. I still like to see
a change even the top of the casing independently.
You're going to be able to.
Slappy would make millions, man, with some of those designs if he could print them.
I mean, yeah, ultimately, I think they'll probably end up working with a third party, or if they're, at a successful enough point, then they will, change out and have those.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
The white one honestly looks shockingly good, particularly with the new plastic and everything that they used.
Yeah, it was shiny.
It was really good.
Shiny,
it's nice and pretty.
nice.
It's got almost looks like a little bit flakes of glitter in it and stuff like that, so it's kind of more reflective. It's nice.
And Solitarian says 69 votes on the poll. 69, bro. 69.
And Sonic 2 is still winning.
Is it? Yeah, I figured it would be Sonic.
The next closest is Sonic and Knuckles, and then Sonic CD.
Yeah,
Sonic Mania is getting no love.
Wow,
But that's not a bad
no love
game.
for Sonic Mania. I understand it was like a tribute to those, but it's still.
This is a retro crowd for the most part. Sonic 2 had more sales than any of those others.
I'm not arguing.
I mean,
I'm not
Sonic
arguing
and
on
Knuckles
that. That would have
came
been
out
my
a little bit later in the Genesis life.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's why Sonic and Knuckles is down as low as it is, because it was so late in the Genesis life that a lot of people, I think, skipped it.
Well, you still had like Sonic Spinball and 3D Blast, so there was.
Yeah.
You still. What was Sonic and
I knew
Knuckles?
that was going to get linked.
93, 94?
I can't remember, because I mean, you had Sonic and Knuckles, and then you had one of them. You could latch one into the other. Was it Sonic 3? And then
Chaotix. That was on.
No. There was one before that. There was
one. I do remember that. Well, there was. You talking about before Frontiers? Hold on. I literally just pulled up the whole list. Hold on, I got it.
That one drove me nuts on Chaotix on the
Yeah, Chaotix was a weird game, dude. I want to say it was RetroBro that was streaming that one day, and that whole game just.
So the
visuals in that game are enough to almost give you a slight headache.
Oh, the main series, spinning in and out of focus,
and the slingshotting somebody,
and the giant characters,
and there was a lot of weird stuff going on that one. It's a neat idea for a game, just some of the execution seemed a little wonky to me for my personal taste. I'm sure somebody loves it.
So here's what it is. So it started with Sonic the Hedgehog in 91 all the way down. So Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic Spinball, Sonic the Hedgehog CD, Sonic Chaos 93, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and then Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic and the Hedgehog Triple Trouble, Knuckles Chaotix, Tails Sky Patrol. Well, we're kind of getting off on Tails Adventure, Sonic Labyrinth, Sonic Blast.
Sky Patrol on the Game Gear.
Sonic Blast, Sonic Advance 2, 3, Sonic
Rush. The original Sonic even got ported to the Master System at 1.2.
And then you got
91.
You got Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1, which was 2010. Sonic Colors 2010, Sonic Generations 2011. Then we're getting up to Sonic Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 in 2012. Sonic Jump, Sonic Boom, Shattered Crystal in 14. Sonic Boom, Fire and Ice in 16. Sonic Mania, which I think was amazing, in 17, and Sonic Mania Plus in 18. But then you got now in 2022, you got I
really enjoyed Generations on the DS. The 360 version that I picked up on Steam is a little more frustrating to play.
I agree. Like. Sonic Blast is better.
Shattered Crystals was on 3DS, right? And the Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric was Wii U. It might be one of the only orphaned.
Was Sonic Boom Wii U or
Sonic
Wii?
Game?
I know Sonic Unleashed, I think, was Wii, right?
I think it was Wii U. Yeah, Sonic Unleashed was Wii.
Yeah. Now that. So speaking of Sonic Unleashed, no, has nothing to do with Sonic Unleashed.
We did a rehearsal of these segues, guys. I'm sorry.
We were going to talk a little bit about
rehearsal and segues. We did good to get topics.
We were talking a little bit about. Well, you guys probably know a little bit more about this crazy new gaming systems. I have no idea. I'm so set in my ways.
Hold on. What's going on here?
Microsoft, Xbox, and Sony, and what they've been up to with their profits of their Xbox. Well, first of all, let's talk Microsoft and Xbox.
Well, they've been losing a little money. I think Phil Spencer came out to talk about the sales of the Xbox Series S and the Series X, and we all know that the Razer and Razer Blade model, you sell the hardware at a bit of a loss, and then you make up for that on the software. That's been the model. We kind of assume that's the running model. It's not as pervasive as you think. I mean, it used to be much more common that you would make a profit on the hardware as well. You would just make a little bit of a loss later on in the 90s when these systems started to get very expensive and it was very competitive. You had a lot of competitors out there. The systems would be selling for $199 and they might cost $250 to make. So they're taking a hit on each of these systems, but they're making up for it on the software. Now, I think Phil Spencer said that they are losing up to $200 per console.
Want me to add this, Nick?
For every Series X.
Yeah, if you would please. Sorry, I'm having a side conversation with.
Oh, that's nice.
Shit,
that was a cool Mortal Kombat. Was that Jay?
I had some.
Hey,
I was having a side conversation with somebody, so I had that pulled up, but I was trying to pull up this article, and I don't know if I can zoom in on this. I might be able to grab. You know what? I think I can grab a section here. So, just save that as an image here, and then try to open that up and see if I can zoom in on it this way, because this was the main part that I think we kind of wanted to focus on, because this time talks about the cost, and this isn't like a really bad thing, but this just shows you how expensive the modern consoles are, right?
Yep. Just
as a bit of news. So the Series S is $299, Series X $499. We knew that, but the Series S costs Microsoft about $200, and it loses $100 on the Series X as well.
Yeah, so it's saying
they're losing. The fact that this is almost as much as the console itself is kind of surprising to me, because I thought the Series S would be like an easy slam dunk for them, but it's pretty costly.
Yeah, everyone was surprised when they said $299.
Yeah,
no one was expecting
more for this, and it'd be reasonable. But yes. I mean, they're still selling it at $299, which is great because they can sell costs. And I knew they would lose money on the X for sure.
It has been a strategic pricing for Microsoft. They wanted to come in with the Series S as a no-brainer impulse buy at $300. Modern gaming, a modern next-gen system. You remember that Sony and Microsoft into October, November of 2020? Maybe it was late September. I think it's probably late September when they finally announced what those costs of the PS5 and the Series X would be. So they were playing a game of chicken. Sony didn't want to, announce what its price was because they were trying to. The costs, they're losing money on those systems. And then Microsoft didn't want to announce what it was either, because they didn't want to set it so high and have Sony be able to undercut them. So they came out and said, okay, the Series X is going to be $499, the Series S is going to be $299. And it's like they are in a position they can take a massive loss on these consoles because they offer they make money, so much money elsewhere, and they make so much money on the services and the subscriptions and, just outside of the software, all of the subscriptions and all of the services that they have and all of the, downloadable content and everything else is able to, float the true cost of what these consoles are.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry. I was listening to what you were saying or trying to while I was trying to deal with some ruckus in chat.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for years and years and years, we've known that you always take a loss on hardware. That's always kind of been a given, at least early on.
Yeah.
As the console ages, that becomes less of a thing, and they can kind of equalize
because your costs come down,
or they can just lower more to incentivize more people to pick it up who are maybe waiting on costs to be cut.
Your costs come down as you make more of these systems, as you can make refinements to it, as the cutting edge hardware becomes a little bit older and there's more supply and you can get it a little bit cheaper, and your build becomes cheaper over time. So they can always make up for that. I mean, even the PS3, which, Sony launched at $699? Was it $599 or $699 for the PS3? They were losing money at that.
Well, that one included a full PS2 built in.
But
it was the first one to have a Blu-ray player, and Blu-ray players were pretty expensive at the time. So there are a couple things going on with that. But yes.
But even later in that lifetime, the cost had come down enough that they were actually making a small profit on the PS3.
Yeah, but they also removed the
backwards
kind of built-in PS2.
Yeah,
right. And they still had some backwards compatibility, but I think it was more the way the 360 was doing it at the time, where it was more software emulation. Didn't they have that capability? I thought they did, or am I remembering wrong?
I think you're I think they removed the backwards compatibility with the PS2, and it was just backwards compatible with the PS1 with the Slim.
Okay.
I mean, there was stuff that they took out to make it cheaper towards like the last 2 or 3 years of that system's life.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, my memory's fuzzy. My memory's always fuzzy. That's just a thing.
Mine may be as well. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they removed the backwards compatibility with one, if not both of those.
Yeah, I know the 360 kept this, but it was always software emulation, right?
Yeah.
So they had a way of like basically sort of pseudo emulating it. The architecture wasn't that different between the Xbox and the 360 because he always built it off like a PC architecture. So it's easier to move that stuff forward.
Yeah.
That was always kind of their gameplay, whereas the PS2 had a very unique architecture. But I'll go ahead and pull this off, and when we get to the next article, we'll pull that up. Or I'll start looking for the key bits on that when I'm pulling those up. Sony also had losses hit. And this one's a little bit harder to pull up. But they sold $25 million. Did Dreadpool get us? Yeah.
Oh, you said they removed the laser for the CPU?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they removed the laser and the CPU for the backwards compatibility. Got it. Okay. See, Dreadpool remembers all this stuff. Get better memory than I do. PS5 hits 25 million units sold, but Sony's gamer profits fall to 49% due to rising costs. This is a bit of an reading into this a little bit deeper. It's a little bit of a misnomer here. They sold 5.7 million units for the first half of 2022. They still had a target of trying to sell 18 million by the end of the current fiscal year in March 2023. I don't know that they're going to hit that number. This was just the first half, mind you. So if you're 5.7 million and you're aiming for 18 million, you're off by several million.
Yeah, but remember your holiday, you're probably going to bring, 70% of your sales.
Assuming you can get any in a store.
Well, they are. I think they're off of their track. They're probably going to be down by a couple million, but they are still holding to the number that they think they're going to make it. Their production is high.
Right. Let's see. They said the sales are going to plan. They still think they're going to achieve the 8 million units. They manufactured 65 million consoles during quarter 2, which is what they claimed. They also had a decline in gaming profits due to a couple things. One is due to an increase in game development. Let me see if I can highlight this here. Let me see if I can get this snapshot.
Paying for Bungie.
Yeah, that was part of it.
I think that is on Steam, by the way. Atari 50th. I think it's on everything. I think that Atari 50th is literally in everything.
They put it on everything.
Yeah, so if you don't even have a console, you could probably get it on Steam.
Yeah,
I might get it on. I'm literally bringing my Xbox One S down here just because it's been upstairs all the time. I used it for watching TV and streaming and everything, and I rarely get to playing the games anymore. I think being down here in the studio would be better, so I'm actually bringing that down here. So I'll have my Switch and my let me pull this up. My Switch and my Xbox both down here. So it maybe if I get Sonic Frontiers, I might get it for Xbox, or I might, I don't know.
I think the Xbox controller would be a good controller for it personally. But
I'm not a fan of this. I don't have a Pro, but
then I do then I do PlayStation.
Yeah, I haven't really. I mean, I do have one Pro controller, or like regular controller I got off Amazon, but this here is not.
Dude, I'm going to send you an 8-bit controller. I don't know why the hell you're
using
that.
I have it. Dude, no, I have that too. You
need to be using that.
I don't play Switch. I use that for other stuff. I use that for my emulations. I use that for my Raspberry Pi and my Evercade. Except when I did that auto racing. Oh my God. When I did that auto racing run, I had to stick with the Evercade VS controller, and it rubbed my thumb is like a pure callus now. It's like I did 100, I counted it, 173 times I reset auto racing course 5 to do a no crash run. I played it into the I'm stupid, right? Into the mid. I was in the mid afternoon.
It's dumber than me resetting Ninja Gaiden every time I do a 1cc to start the whole thing all over again, man. You're not gonna get any hate out of me. I'm gonna laugh at it.
It was. Same way I got it done. I got it done. I just that controller. I don't know. Oh, here it is.
You could have just called your stream like auto race 5 points on my license. Crash.
Well, dude, course 5 is that hairpin turn, and it's like it's almost now when playing a regular game, yeah, it allows crashes, but I was set on a good time, which I think ended up being, I think it was 5 minutes or 6 minutes and 55 seconds, something like that. for 5 laps with 0 crashes. And I'm like, after I did that video, I was like, anybody who wants to use this controller with that crazy weird D-pad.
Oh, I don't like the D-pad on the Evercade, man. I hook in another controller and program it. If you need help with that, I'll walk you through it. However,
yeah, go ahead.
I know everybody's had a chance to read this like 80 million times, but I'm going to read it anyway because I have one job on the ship.
Yeah, I had one
points if you get that reference.
Nice Galaxy Quest reference. Go ahead.
Sony said that its decline in gaming profits was due to an increase in game development and acquisition costs, obviously buying Bungie, as well as the negative impact of foreign exchange rates, reflecting a high ratio of U.S. dollar costs because we're
to the yen
in the throes of inflation right now. The increase in gaming revenue was partially attributed to the expected increase in hardware sales due to recent price increases of the PlayStation 5 hardware. So this just goes to show you the hardware costs across the board are going up. And while it started out with small companies, is now kind of trickling its way up to the larger companies as well. It's not hitting them as hard because, one, they have better deals in place because they're just bigger companies, and two, they can afford to run more on a line at a time, which obviously lowers costs. Sony also, their game and network division revised a full year forecast down by 12%, citing lower than expected sales of third-party games. And they also had a pretty big mass migration away from PlayStation Plus, like that new version of PlayStation Plus, due to the lineup. So a lot of people who were subscribing to their new streaming / Game Pass type service are migrating away from it pretty quickly, whereas they're sticking with Game Pass for the most part.
You have to remember that they broke it up into tiers. So they have the high tier, which is higher costs. So they were able to make more money in their subscription services, but they overall lost subscribers because the standard tier that most people had just doesn't have as much good content as they were expecting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people wanted most of their classic games and a huge amount of their old library, and they're just not getting as much of it as they want out of that service yet. It's kind of like Sony is scrambling to kind of figure out how to do the service the way that Game Pass has done it, their library, and they're just not having as much luck of it. And it may be partly because they don't own as many of the studios. Like Microsoft can keep a lot of this up because a lot of what's up there and stays up there is just studios they bought. Or Sony can't do as much of that because they're just not as big of a company.
They still have access to a lot. I mean, they've
still got a ton of first-party stuff.
They have a ton of first-party stuff. It's just they have a different philosophy. You know, Xbox has been going in this direction. Microsoft Games has been going in this direction for the past 5 years now. Of we are a platform that exists on multiple devices. We are a software as a service. We are about bringing as many people to whatever portion of the Microsoft platform you want to engage with. If you just want to use Azure, that's fine. If you want to use, xCloud, if you want to play games on your phone through xCloud, if you want to use your Xbox, if you want to use Steam, they don't care where you are accessing as long as they get a piece of the pie. And Sony's always made that different decision that we're not about just we're going to be wherever. No, we are PlayStation. We are a hardware company. Sony has that legacy of, I mean, they started off building transistor radios in the 50s. They've been a hardware company.
They have a totally different methodology. You're right. Whereas Microsoft started out as a software company, and that's where they're comfortable. They kind of make hardware under duress, but their primary bread and butter and where they're the most comfortable is software.
And also,
for the most part.
Yeah, and also Sony has been very much rewarded for we make the best games in gaming. We make things that are cinematic movie experiences. And Microsoft doesn't make games like that. They haven't made games like that. So they don't have a God of War. They don't have a Last of Us. They don't have a Ghost of Tsushima. They don't have all of these cinematic masterpieces where Sony is kind of pushing the bounds of what gaming used to be versus it's now an emotional experience. It's now on par with watching a movie. You know, there's so much cutscenes. There's so much money that goes into these games. That's what Sony wanted to be. That's what they wanted to make gaming.
You've got some of that now with Microsoft to an extent, but it's mostly from like purchases they made. Because you've got games like Fallout, you've got games like Skyrim, you're going to have Starfield.
which is in the works, which has always been with
Starfield's actually supposed to release in like a
Next
couple
year,
weeks, I
yeah.
think. No, I
No,
thought it was
I
supposed
thought
to
it
release
was
earlier.
20
Well, what about
2023.
Redfall? Redfall looked really cool too.
Redfall's supposed to come out. Redfall looks really good. That doesn't look. That's not the kind of
That would make
cinematic
me buy another
experience,
Xbox
though.
game. Yeah.
Kind of like what Rap's talking about. Like Sony has been very good about telling you like a grandiose story in a very grandiose setting, whereas Microsoft has always given you like fun games because you've got like um, uh, Crimson Skies.
Mhm.
You've got with the Halo franchise, which is great, but it's light on story. It's heavy on
You got
action.
Sea of
It's really
Thieves,
good.
you've
It's
got
really good on engagement. You got Sea of Thieves,
Gears of War.
Starfield, which I thought was coming out this year, but maybe it's getting pushed back. But
I
there's a
thought it was
lot.
next year,
Looked
but I
pretty
meant
cool
It's
from
harder
their
to
I thought they
think
were-
of.
presentation. Yeah.
It's harder to think of Microsoft in games that pull you in, like say Ghost of Tsushima or
Mhm.
Silent Hill, which I think maybe eventually hit the 360, but is more well known for PlayStation. You know, you got stuff like Infamous
Mhm.
that kind of drew you into that kind of legacy, right? I mean, you got your Dead Space, but I think Dead Space released on both consoles, so that wasn't really an exclusive, right? So it's something to be said for that kind of narrative, overarching storytelling and world building that Sony's so far been a little bit better at than Microsoft. Though I expect with
Quite a bit
Microsoft's
better.
acquisitions, they're going to get just that much better eventually.
Yeah, Microsoft has set themselves up to be that in the long run. I mean,
Yeah.
Amazon was setting themselves to be that in the long run with some of their projects that they had. But I mean, you have to put out those games, and Microsoft is not there. But Sony, they were always that from. I mean, they had started to be that with the PS2, even a little bit with the PlayStation, but with the PS2 and then with the PS3, they kind of got caught behind and everyone was going to 360. But by the latter half of the PS3, they were really firing on all cylinders where they were putting out these cinematic games. And then the entirety of the PS4, they just swept the floor with what they could put out. And I think
Gears
they just
would be the
expected it to
one
keep
that
going.
Microsoft is the most known for, that I would think would be the most cinematic overarching one, closer to what PlayStation puts out more of, right? When you're talking first party.
When I first saw like the very first Gears back on the 360, that was one I played all the way through to the end. Like I don't really play a lot of games all the way through. Gears 1 and 2 were awesome. I haven't touched a Gears game since, but I understand that they do good cinematic, the whole running and crouching. It was just a different look. It was almost like someone, if you remember the first two at least, was like someone running behind with a camera, and it was like they were there in battle with them, and I just love the way those looked. But like I said,
and they kind of got that from Uncharted, and I feel like if you're looking at storytelling and you look at Uncharted versus Gears, I'll take Uncharted as far as storytelling goes.
Yeah,
I feel like Drake and that cast of characters is easier to engage with and more fun. The Gears characters are more just stereotypes of like ultra machoistic characters, and it's especially going back to them now, it's harder to relate to them now because the culture's changed so much since the first Gears of War. It's not to say those are bad games. I like the original Gears of War. I thought the end boss was utter garbage until I got a second player in there to help me beat it. The second one was significantly better in that, and then I kind of tapped out on the series, and now they're on like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
it's gotten pretty ridiculous.
We are about 640% less machismo over the past decade, so it has not aged well as
Well, that was like a Cliffy B machismo thing.
Yeah,
he always did that. He did that with Unreal Tournament. Everybody looked like
Very
a
over the
freaking
top,
He-Man figure on steroids, kind of thing, you know. And the only person who died was the one person who had enough freaking common sense to wear a helmet. You know, that kind of BS. That was always his shtick, man. He was always bad about that.
Speaking of shtick, I'm ending the poll right now. Sonic 2 wins at 39%, Sonic and Knuckles at 29%, Sonic CD at 24%, and poor Sonic Mania at only 8%. So sorry, Sonic Mania fans, as I am.
I need to dig into Mania more. I've been trying to get through Generations first.
I need to maybe do a...
Steam,
now that I see
I really want to play with Mania.
Sonic 2 won that. Maybe I need to do a Sonic 2 video or a stream. And
Sonic 2's fun, dude. I
haven't played that in forever.
Sonic 2, I feel, is like where Sonic started finding its rhythm.
I felt in a lot of ways like Sonic 2 and even to some extent Sonic 3 I felt a lot of
Sonic 3
repetitiveness
added
from
a lot of
Sonic.
really cool stuff like the water shield and fire shield and stuff like that. I haven't
Yeah.
played Sonic 3. I've seen a couple of people play through it, and I'm like, there's a lot of really good ideas here that I feel like I need to sit down and really give this like a solid shot.
Yeah. I just felt like there was a lot of like retread going on that I would have liked to see kind of a little bit more departure maybe in level design and a little bit more
I can see that. I can see that.
I mean, like I'm good with my Green Hill Zone. My Emerald Hill is not that different for me. I was good with my Marble Zone. Now I have some aquatic ruins. It feels very much like I've been here before.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be fair, the Mario feels the same way. I mean, Mario
Yes,
would
but
always kind of retread a lot of the same worlds, and then you'd get like a couple random different worlds,
but
right?
when
Thrown in there, like
Sonic
either a candy
retreads a
world or a
stage,
food world or something
but
like
when
that. But a lot of Mario feels very similar.
yes, but when Sonic retreads a stage, there's only so much, spinning and loops and pipes and stuff that you can put in and kind of have it be differentiated from where you've been last year with the previous version. I think with Mario, you could do a little bit different stuff. You've got the giant boot, you've got the, flying with the
Yeah.
cape. I mean, you take it in a different direction between those first. You didn't start getting too repetitive, I think, until you started to get past
What I
probably
really
into the
need
early
to do is I need
2000s.
to dig more. Speaking of Mario again, I need to dig more into Mario Maker 2. I don't really want to stream it, but there's so many like they're brutally hard in some ways, but there's so many amazingly creative levels in that game just from the player base, right? But that game is still, even though they stopped adding anything new to it or really supporting it, is still to this day worth playing.
I put my time in on the Wii U, and now it's gone. So I'm I'm not going to reinvest all that into the Switch
They
version.
dropped the second one into. They dropped the second one on the
Switch.
Switch.
Yes, I know.
It's worth having, dude.
Yeah, I need to get. Well, I'm bringing my Wii down here as well.
I feel
Nothing
like I'm
like playing
rebuying
with
the
my
same
Wii in
game
the
just to like
studio.
play with a current crowd.
I like the Sonic CD is poopy. Cool music,
Cool music though.
though.
I feel
Well,
like okay,
It's
hold
our
on.
quote of the
Well,
day.
Mike is apparently okay with Sonic 2 winning. The co-op in that game was very. I never did co-op in that game, but yeah, I remember that because one person could play Tails.
Yeah.
But Tails, I don't think could actually really die.
No, he just like respawned back on scene.
Yeah.
Just sort of hovered down.
Yeah, I believe
on
Mania
high.
was good, but once again, I didn't play all the way through it yet. But I do that with a lot of games. I get about midway through a game and then I move on to something else, unless I'm super super into the game.
I do that a lot now too. I've been trying to focus in a little more. Like I really want to finish Luigi's Mansion 3. I really do want to finish up Breath of the Wild. I'm close to getting near the end of that one again. I've just kind of put it down for a little because I had so many other things I was kind of focusing on, and I needed to get some recording done. So I had to put some things down for a little bit.
I hear you.
With that being said, and poopy music aside, or no, wait, no, poopy games and great music aside, thanks for everything, guys, and talking about stuff that I have no clue about. And because like I really do need to get into more.
We got the
into modern-
topics. Yay!
No, but you're right. Yeah, no, but also like I do need to get into more modern gaming, but maybe Sonic Frontiers and some other stuff. And well, I was gonna say the Atari 50th is gonna be on modern.
That's not modern gaming, man.
There'll be some new reimagined ones.
It is
on
modern
That's
gaming.
not modern gaming.
It's modern gaming. But yeah, so I'll get that. I'll be playing some of that soon. Is the Atari 50th out this week?
Friday.
I was about to say it's out pretty soon. There's a lot
Hopefully-
of stuff this week, man.
Hopefully
Like
I can afford it.
Frontiers dropped, Ragnarok dropped today, the 50th drops on Friday. In a couple of weeks, I think something else drops. Like we're
Yeah,
hitting
that
holiday season,
Nindies-
man. They're starting to pump them all out now.
That Nindies Direct. It was like
Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff on that. There wasn't as much stuff that appealed to me on that one, and I'm usually a big indie fan.
no.
I wasn't. I saw a recap on it on IGN, and
Nice.
not a lot of it was really drawing me in. But I'm
Yeah.
usually a big indie fan.
It can be a little hit or miss. Some of those games I think are a little too niche focus. Like you'd like to get a good scope of different audiences to, I mean, especially with the Switch having a much broader appeal. But I just felt there was a little bit too much niche and not enough that kind of like, oh, that looks like it's got an
Yeah.
appeal for a wide audience. I mean, there was stuff like you could be a coffee barista. It's like, okay.
Well, and they had a couple of roguelikes, and anytime you put roguelike
I like
in the
to drink
title,
coffee,
in
I
the
don't-
description of a game, I bail. I'm like, nope.
There's
No,
just been
no
so
interest.
many roguelikes. It's,
I hate that genre. I've tried to get into that genre, and I'm glad it's around. I'm really glad it's around because tons of people love it. It's just not for me. So I just avoid them.
S Mills, silly club member with the super chat for $20. Thank you
Motion
so much.
controls and the Wii Mini.
Dude, are they even doing it? Are they really doing a
Baby
Wii?
I
wagon.
don't know. I hope not. I mean, my Wii still
why not,
runs
right?
fine.
I
I don't know.
think
really
it might be
why you need to do
too
a mini
early.
of that.
Too early for a Wii Mini, but if they do the best games,
If you're gonna do a mini, give me a GameCube Mini.
you're gonna do a Wii Mini. There's
You want a
two
Virtual
games
Boy
that
Mini.
need to be on this, and I think S Mill will agree.
Honestly,
It's
I really
Pet
do.
Cats
Actually,
2 and my favorite, Purr Pals.
oh, these are pretty kitties.
Look at the kitty. Look at the kitty.
Look at the kitty.
Thank you so much.
I do actually
better
want a
have
Virtual
motion.
Boy Mini just because I want to see Panda try to actually
Thanks,
play it.
man.
That would be the funniest thing ever. That would be worth it.
That's very nice of you.
I think he's gonna build one for forgot his squirrel's name. His crew member.
Oh, isn't it like Turbo or something like that?
Those cats
no,
are
it's
probably
Octane.
Octane, that's it.
Purr Pals on Amico play. Oh, here we
My Wii
That
isn't a mini.
Cat Fighter Mini.
Oh, it's
We had
such
to get
a
one of them in there.
little box.
Oh,
Honestly, I
Luke
kind of want. There's
Awakening.
two things I kind of want if I can ever get this room laid out the way I really want it now. Is I'd like to have a Virtual Boy and I'd like to have a Rob the Robot. I don't really want to mess with them. I just want them as display pieces.
Luke's Awakening with the Silly Club member with a $2 super chat says, "My Wii isn't mini." Well, congratulations for your Wii not being mini. That's a good thing. There's nothing
He
wrong with that.
lies.
Luke, have you
Luke
tried
lies.
putting on the extension on the end of your waggle stick?
You put your Wii condom on.
Dude, I swear, with the original Wiimote, I was certain that thing was going to look like a full-on lightsaber by the time they got done adding attachments to that stupid thing.
Yes.
It's almost a
Yes,
baseball
it
bat.
is.
It's
Purr Pals
ridiculous.
is definitely. I mean, look at the back.
I
I
think
love
I
it.
had to
They're
leave,
like
I had to
those
leave the
guys.
room when they had like the silicone sheets.
Oh
but
god,
That was
that
30
thing,
years
oh, it's
ago.
so
That was-
What are we
ridiculous.
doing with this?
Oh man.
What's up, Big Block? Oh,
Hey, Big Block.
Oh, Big Block, what's going on? Oh my god, that's funny. When did Purr
Joe,
Pals
by the way,
come out?
we just now covered that a little bit. We were more focused on a couple other things tonight, but we did mention we mentioned the 50th actually a lot the last couple of weeks.
These cats are from 2008. Same with these ones here. Would they still be alive today?
Maybe. I've had cats live that long. I've had
Yeah.
cats live longer than that. I
Yeah,
had
those
one
are
that was almost
kittens.
30.
That would be 14. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're probably right now. They're sleeping on the couch in the sun. They're getting down. Their bones are aching a little bit, but you throw them a little temptation treat, and they're fine. But 50,
Hey,
14
I
ain't too
had
bad.
a cat live to 30, man. He was a piece of furniture the last 10
That's
years.
insane. That is
Wow.
amazing, though.
Yeah.
He was either 29 or 30. He was older than the vet tech when we took him to the vet, which I thought was
Oh, it does say
hysterical.
2007, John. You're right. It says 20. Oh, Purr Pals 2008 Brain Toys, but released by Nintendo in 2007. That's weird. It's got two release dates. You know your Purr Pals. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that.
They can put the copyright on a couple months beforehand, so it could still be 2007.
I am a little surprised that Rab actually knew the release date of Purr Pals.
I didn't.
John did.
Oh, John did. Okay. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, he had to look it up on the internet. He says he has terrible memory for names.
I feel better now. I'm like, wow, really?
I'm not looking up anything.
Now I gotta do a video on
getting it stuck in
Purpals.
your head. The date of the Purpals release is not one that I think would get stuck.
Speaking of random trivia, you want a can I answer your question from your retro roots? Or Panda's question, actually.
I'd leave retro roots with many questions, sir. You're going to have to be more specific, but yes, please.
Panda had a question about when did Extra Lives? What was the first game to use the 3 lives?
Yeah, actually, yes. What was the answer?
That was Space Invaders, and the reason
okay.
The reason
so 1979 then
78.
78.
I mean, it came out 79 here, but it was, I think, 78 in Japan. But the reason why for Space Invaders, think about all the games that were out when Space Invaders came out. Space Invaders was only the second ever game where, I mean, you had driving games where you kind of race the clock, you race around for a minute, and you put in your quarter, you race around, and you're done after a minute.
Right.
How far can you go, or your best time, whatever. But you kind of race against the clock. Or you have competitive games, shooting gallery games, stuff like that, where you're, shooting a number of objects, or you're playing against a friend. Space Invaders was the second game where you are, I guess, being attacked by the computer. The invaders are firing down on you.
No one had seen that before. Around that same time, and aren't you
Defenders 82. Defenders 82.
Okay.
The first game where the computer actually fired back at you was Computer Space 71.
Yes.
Nolan Bushnell.
Okay. Yes.
But that didn't sell well, so no one really played that. I mean, that was kind of from, Space War and stuff from the 60s. So the Japanese did not play Computer Space. They did not have access to those games. That was an expensive import for them. And you have to remember,
was the first one to really do kind of like a homegrown shooter like that. And Japan took it big.
Well, because the big game in Japan in 77 was Breakout. And Breakout, you were breaking blocks with your little thing. So if you were putting in a quarter or a yen, 25, 50, whatever yen piece that you were going to put in to play this game, you're used to playing Breakout. It's the only game that was ever big in Japan in 77. And now you have 78 Space Invaders come in, and you see this little thing. It looks like you're breaking. I mean, Space Invaders was based on Breakout. I mean, you're breaking all of the rows.
Yeah, that was one of its. Aliens. That was one of its big influences. Was that? Yes.
But they're firing down at you, and you see this thing come down at you. You probably think it's going to be like, okay, I have to return this, because with Breakout, you have to return the ball
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were worried that, okay, players are going to go and try and catch this falling missile and die. So if you put in a yen and you got killed instantly because you went to go and try and catch the ball, you weren't going to put in another quarter. You think the game is defective. So they were worried that the game wouldn't sell well unless they gave it extra lives, so that people can learn, I'm not supposed to.
When I did my video on it, I did it as like a cool extras piece, because they did a lot of really, really cool stuff with that game.
They did. I mean, it's one of the most transformative games. And, pinball had like 5 plays, because you're trying to get extra money. If you want someone to pay a quarter, then you have extra plays. That's a way that you can have them pay more money, so they can kind of save up extra plays. But this was a first for video games.
I didn't know there was a coin shortage, but that makes sense.
Yeah, from Space Invaders, there's a coin shortage. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. They those Space Invader cafes were just like eating them. And you got to remember, Taito was also like an operator, so they were the ones to go and like get all that money. And it was like, how are they going to spend all that money and take it into the bank? It's sitting there for like weeks.
Well, they were having that problem with Pac-Man too. Like the bins and stuff on both of those games were getting so full,
that
they'd have to empty them multiple times a day because people couldn't put quarters in anymore.
Yeah, that was the problem with I think with Pong. It was like they thought it was initially defective, and it's just the bin was full. They used like a milk jug or something to like fill the coins, and they all spilled out, and it was like shorting the board or something.
Oh, it was making connections. Oh,
yep,
geez.
It was, so they're like, your machine's defective. Like, no, it's just that popular.
Dude, the way they got audio in Pong was like the weirdest thing ever. They actually used like the video cable out.
Yes.
And split that off to play audio sounds. And I thought, wow, what a creative way to do that.
Well,
What a neat way to do a workaround on that.
yeah, I mean, you're just trying to find what the what the circuits and the chip would make. It wasn't really intended to make sound, so like whatever it could do.
To me, that was the best though. Just going to an arcade and walking up to the one machine, especially as a kid, it's kind of intimidating. This big machine making these loud noises. I remember like I guess I'd have to do the math, but you know me. I was when Donkey Kong had just come out, and we were up camping in an arcade, and it had just opened.
Solitarian saying Breakout had lives. He's literally screaming it now.
Breakout had lives. But I remember walking. It was that they had a miniature golf and pizzeria, and in the back they had just opened. And we went there for lunch or something. They had just opened the arcade in the back, and I ran in the back. And it was all dark, and the only machine that was on, they had just fired up, was Donkey Kong, and someone put a credit on it. It was doing the whole and Donkey Kong's going and grinding his teeth, and I was like, I ran back in and was like, I'm scared. I don't want to be there and by myself in there. Like I was scared. So I thought it's just, I don't know, but I think that made me like appreciate like each machine as a separate game, and this machine that you popped a quarter in and you got to control it for a moment. And it was I'm still amazed to this day. It's why I collect them, and I don't have as many, but I just absolutely love stuff like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong.
There's something to be said about the feel and just the sound of an old school arcade, and that's something I don't.
CRT,
and maybe they've done it, but I would like to see recreated maybe in VR so people could actually experience that. You'd have a bunch of the cabinets with all the different sounds of the cabinets kind of going on at the same time, and you could literally walk up and focus in on a cabinet and play that cabinet. I think that would be a cool experience to have if you can't do a physical arcade, right? It'd be a way of bringing that kind of arcade experience to the home a little bit without having to spend the money on an actual arcade for the home.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that should be a thing you pop in on the metaverse if they were like less focused on Zoom meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think because they've done some compilations where you can like change carts in like a console and play them that way. And stuff
the SNK had one. They had multiple carts, and then they eventually came out with I don't know if it was a bootleg one or if it was official, but they did I had one that was 161 in one. It was all the SNK Neo Geo games. From all
Flish Creek says go to Dave and Buster's, which those are even getting a little harder to get around to these days too. There's one near me, but half the stuff at Dave and Buster's, it just doesn't feel the same, man. Like they've got a couple of good arcade games, but I mean they've got like the one I was at last time I was there had a huge ass version of Flappy Birds.
Yeah,
I don't give a crap about that.
But kids do.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's an arcade one up around here that I kind of want to go visit occasionally that has a bunch of those old school arcades, and they'll serve you stuff.
Oh, at first I thought you meant like the toy arcade machines.
No. This is actual arcade.
This is a barcade. Is that the one on Colfax?
Yeah. Close by.
There's a bunch here. We have a ton of them here.
Yeah.
But there's one or two of them around here, and there's a couple further out. But they're cool places to go and kind of get a little bit of that feel. It's not quite the same, but it still gives you some of those vibes of actual, full on arcade.
Yeah. It's one of the. I would love to see, especially Sega. I know I'm gonna have to make up. I think Mike was calling me out for my less than amicable love for Sonic. I do like Sonic. It's just been done. It's been overdone. So I love Sonic Mania. I enjoyed some of the later Sonics more than other people have. But I think Sega really could stand to kind of revisit some of its old electromechanical machines and some of its old systems like Hang On and all of those ones with the physical, like you're talking about, the physical arcade, just going and having that experience. So many of those games were such unique experiences that a controller does not replicate. I mean,
there was an afterburner that you set in a cockpit and the cockpit moved, and there's a lot of experiences like that you
Radmobile
can't replicate at home.
Yeah.
You could get close with VR trying to do afterburner if you had it in the seat, because you could get that kind of shifting motion just from the way the perspective is.
Yeah.
But it's still not going to be the same as like the whole physical thing moving with you.
Yeah. But instead
Right.
of like the little Astro City that they came out with, which like, okay, I get it. You can put some of your arcades on and you have like a little simple arcade stick. I would have loved to see like, okay, if Arcade One Up can spend like, it can have us pay like $300, $400 for a mini arcade cabinet, I would pay Sega 600 or 700 for a small recreation of something like a hang on or something, like not something you're going to be able to sit on, but something you can kind of steer and
Or even a
just a little,
stand-up. I had
a,
a
li-
stand-up hang on.
a small toy
There you
that's
go.
like a
But mine
toy
was an
version.
original one, and they're trying to sell these new. This is what I don't like about Arcade One Up, and I'm going to say that because
Sega has amazing history pre 16-bit.
yeah. And by the way, I do have two. I have a Magnavox 19-inch, and I have I can't tell what the other one. It actually came from a Midway arcade toy that was like it had a TV, a CRT TV in it. It's like a 13-inch color TV.
Mhm.
That's the only two I have. I used to have more.
I am a terrible retro gamer. I have not one CRT in my house.
But back to what was I just saying now? That threw me off. About the Arcade One Ups. It's they're starting to charge $600-$700 for those things are toys. They're literally 3.5-foot toys.
Their new Pro line is going to be like $1,000, and that one looks better. It's like a 19-inch with.
But you can buy the original games. Like it's
Dude,
an
I don't know
absolute
anybody that
rip-off.
sells those things around my area. If I was
they're an
near you
absolute rip-off.
and I could
I'm
build an
sorry.
arcade by buying them from you and having you refurb them, I would. But I'm not driving halfway.
You can
across the
literally
state
buy
to
them in
drive
your
halfway
local
across the
area.
state again.
You could literally buy them on your local Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist for cheaper than that in decent working shape.
Just
That's
put on
what
an
makes
alert.
no sense. It makes no sense that they're charging that amount of money for something that
Well, it's
you can buy
convenient.
the original.
It's
no
the
work.
convenience, man. Anybody can
And-
put those things and assemble them and get them running.
Yeah.
Anybody. And there's not
And
a
then
whole lot
they
to
break
maintain.
and-
All the wiring's modern.
And it's a
It's
third to a
very
quarter of
easy
the
to do.
cost in general. So you're saving a lot of money for some of those machines that you're going to have a hard time getting. And, a lot of the more hard to get ones like the Turtles or the NBA Jam, I think, there's certain ones that people would have to
Well, there's a
shell out
couple
quite
of
a bit
those that
for.
would be like 12 to 1,500, sometimes $2,000. But
Yeah.
if you want something like a Simpsons or Turtles, but a lot of people go in thinking, I think their main thing is their promotion. Their things are it's like a 14 or 15-inch screen. They use this really cheap fiberboard which rubs off and falls apart real quick. They stand about 3.5 feet tall, and you get a riser. It maybe makes them 4.5.
Yeah, their new line
You're
is
literally
gonna have
it's for a
19-inch
toddler.
CRT,
It's
and
literally
gonna-
for like a
well, not
child.
CRT. It's going to have a 19-inch screen, and it's going to be taller, so it's going to be more like a full-size cabinet. But you're paying $1,000 for those.
Yeah, I'd rather just get an original or find a shop that refurbishes them or find them alive. I'm arcade. Once I bought that one thing from Arcade One Up and how bad the quality was for a $700 Pong table, I was so upset. So like
my big thing with the Arcade One Up is it's emulation, but at least I get a few games on my stand-up arcade, right? Like the one I bought for a buddy of mine and we put together came with Marvel superheroes. It came with like X-Men versus it came with the X-Men one as well, and then it came with the Punisher game. So it came with like 3 different titles. It came with 2 Marvel games and it came with the Punisher. So you had 3 games in one that you could sit down, you could play.
What was the artwork? Was it like an amalgamation of all of those, or?
Oh no! It came with like the Marvel superheroes artwork on the cabinet.
Okay, but all the games were on theme, so it was good.
Yeah, and it kept with the theme on the game. And the Killer Instinct cabinet, it goes a little off theme, but they're doing it like the KI-1 cabinet look, but they're having KI-1, KI-2, and a bunch of other games. So, I mean, usually they include more than one title, whereas when you buy an actual arcade cabinet, you're buying it and you're getting the single title, right? Which is great if that's the title you want, but you need multiple cabinets for each different title, and a lot of those use CRTs. Like especially one of the ones that I would want, like a full stand-up, would be like the X-Men arcade, and I'd want the big one that uses two CRTs. But I don't even think I'd want CRTs in it because it's just hard to maintain CRTs now. Just getting old. It's just hard to maintain them.
Yeah,
they last for. I wish I would have saved a lot of my. I had a couple like wooden TVs, like the wooden floor standing
The
ones from
consoles.
70s. Console, yeah, exactly. And I had a couple. I had found one. My neighbor was getting rid of. I got theirs, and I had the one that was originally in our living room. When I moved, I just left them there.
Well, there was that period from like 2000 to maybe 2015 where
threw
they were
everything
free.
out.
Everyone was getting rid of them because
Yep.
they last a long time. They've had them forever. I mean, it was made to be your furniture. You don't replace your TV every few years like we
Right.
kind of do now. But
I don't. I mean,
flat screens and
I've still
stuff.
got a bunch of 1080p TVs that I've had for like 7 or 8 years. We're just now getting to the point where I'm like, you know what? I really want to replace these. I finally have a console that'll push 4K, and one of the reasons it didn't really matter to me too much is if you're watching normal TV for the most part, you're not watching anything off your cable box, anything higher than 1080. Most of the time, it's 720. And if you're streaming, most of the time you're not going to get like 4K on streaming unless you're paying a lot of extra money for it. So it's not really been that big of a deal to me because I'm not buying a lot of physical media that's like, 4K ultra high def kind of stuff. Because I just don't buy that much physical content now. And with the game systems now, I'm kind of like, okay, well, maybe now's the time to do it because now the console will push 4K, so I actually have a use for this resolution on my TV, right? And now they're trying to push 8K TVs out, and I'm like, there's literally no medium for that right now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not for me.
Invest in that yet.
I want to see original OG Astra Smash on an 8K TV. Okay, I want those blocks to be. I want to see every corner edge of those rocks and blocks and twirlers.
I'm still showing my kids like Gumby at 12 frames per second, so I have nowhere to stand on specs.
Well,
to be
with that
fair,
being
Gumby animates at like 12 frames a second.
anyways, I'm gonna end it here. We got a little over an hour and a half. Good topics, good talk, weird chat, but as I watch it here and there. Thanks everyone for sticking it out with us and hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the little light show thing. I know it's not much, but it's something to kind of see that you haven't really seen much of. And I will be doing
that went over pretty well. I think
it was an early season light show. You were ahead of
there you go. You get it. Maybe we'll do a Christmas light show. You never know. Christmas special and an Amico light show. Who knows? Let me know.
I'm surprised you didn't catch your cat like batting at the lights or something.
Oh, I had to lock him upstairs. He's tried to pull the controllers out with the wrist straps. And I'm like, no, do not drop anything. Do not pull those out of there. I don't know how much that's worth, but it's probably a lot. Do not touch that. So yeah, I have to make sure he's not. I have to tuck those under so he doesn't see him. But what you got coming up on the Geeks with Cash or other channel? I dropped 2 videos off this week. I did a history video on basic programming on Monday. I did one on the Nikon controller. It's a PS1 controller that you could actually kind of twist in different directions. Did that today. I'm going to drop a video actually on Genesis on Friday. It's a re-release of one that exists on my other channel, but I want to migrate it over. I started working on an Odyssey 2 video, which is one I promised, and I need to start recording on a game mechanics video that I wrote some time ago. So those are all kind of things that are up in the air. I have been streaming Luigi's Mansion 3 pretty heavily on my channel. I want to work more than one stream night a week on that and other games to try to get some of those going on the channel. So there's a little bit more to stream and a little bit more hangout time there when I can do it. This week's not good until the weekend because I have like this today, I have another thing tomorrow, and then I go on call, and then it's all up in the air because on-call's a thing. For those of you guys don't know, on-call's when people can call me 24/7 any day, any time of the week, and I have to pick up the phone and go back to work. So it sucks, but it's part of my job. So one of those things you got to do. Pays bills. So that's kind of what I've got going on between the 2 channels right now. If you haven't, subscribe to Geekstorian. I was like 4 away from 700 last time I looked. It'd be nice to actually get a channel over 700 at some point in my lifetime.
Well, it's really nice to see someone going through and capturing some of these moments in gaming history like you do. I think there's a lot of stuff that is maybe taken for granted and not everybody knows about. So I like some of the avenues that you're exploring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, it's been fun to explore them, and I know some of them are going to tank when they go out. I was quite surprised that the basic programming one has done as well as it has so far, because I thought that was going to be like a niche thing. Like I knew I liked it, and I thought it was a cool idea, but I didn't think people would gravitate to it as a video, frankly. So I started to that one for me.
Maybe
Well,
that
that
was
being
like a
said,
crash course.
look forward to Purr Pals and Pet Cats new videos coming this week. Maybe.
Lies.
It's such a lie.
He's stringing us
see you
along,
guys
people.
next week because, as we said, it's forever. Thank you so much.
So I'm going to pimp out my link to my Geek Story channel because I have no shame.